Hello everybody, and welcome to my first YouTube video. Today, I am going to be breaking down everything related to the marathon that I just recently ran. So I got a lot of interest and people asking questions about what my training looked like, how I was able to retain muscle throughout training and prepping for this marathon, what nutrition, what gear I use, all this stuff. So I'm gonna be going over all of that in this video. In my first marathon attempt, I was trying to go for a sub 3-hour marathon. That was what I was training for. Missed the mark on that. I got a 3:28, which I still was very happy with that time, but so much went wrong during the race that I wasn't prepared for. So I'm gonna be covering all of that as well. So all the do's and don'ts to set yourself up for success and crush your first marathon. Starting with why I decided to do this. So the marathon was actually something that terrified me and that I never wanted to do. This is our dog Jax. Up until March of this year, I'd never ran over 5 miles in a given sitting. And I first started getting into endurance sports this year. So that started with a high rocks that I did in Miami this year. And I initially wanted to do a half marathon once I started running more frequently, but my lovely girlfriend Monique told me that no one cares about a half marathon. So, so that's how we ultimately came to the marathon. And I was terrified. I mean, as soon as I paid for it and got the confirmation email, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do this? And not because I questioned whether I'd be able to finish it, but because I knew that anything that I sign up for, I fully commit to it. So I want to do well, not just finish it. My challenge to anyone, if you are thinking about doing it, do it. Whatever scares you, sign up and do it. Like, push your limits. You absolutely can do whatever you put your mind to. And I think it's so good for us as human beings to constantly be, pushing the envelope, moving the needle forward, to never stay the same year to year, month to month, whatever it may be. So for recovery, I had 4 main staples I would say I stuck to week. Almost daily, I was utilizing these 2 right here. This is our sauna that we have from Sauna Box. I absolutely love this thing. It is a 2-person sit-down sauna. This is the steam unit right here. And I love this thing. It gets super hot, and then with the humidity as well, it's so good for recovery. I believe it gets up to like 130 or 150, and this thing retains the heat really well. It heats up very quickly, so I was doing sessions of this on a regular basis at night, trying to do maybe like 3 to 4 a week, especially doing contrast, so going from the hot to the cold and back and forth really helps with recovery. This is super affordable too. I think these are like $400. If you are interested, let me know. I'll have a link below on where you can get this. And then this is our cold plunge, which sadly crapped out. It crapped out the week of the marathon. When I probably needed it most is when it let me down. The chiller crapped out, but this thing has been good to us for quite a few years. We're gonna have to be getting a new one, but we'd keep it at 48 degrees, and then I was using this on a daily basis. Usually right after my runs, I would hop in here for my full body for 5 minutes, and then another 5 minutes on my legs. Again, just to help with inflammation, soreness, all of those things, keeping my legs fresh. All right, up next. Don't mind all of these bins. We just cleaned out our storage unit, so that's why they're all here. But the third recovery component was these bad boys right here. These are recovery boots. These are made by Sharper Image. I got these from Costco. They are extremely affordable. I think they were 150 bucks. And then this is the unit for the recovery boots. It has 5 different modes. You would use the pulse and the gradual mode. And then you can change the time, intensity, everything right here. But these things are incredible. These work just as good as Normatec boots, and they are a fraction of the cost. So 150 bucks for these compared to, I think Normatec is like $800-900. Huge lifesaver, and I would use these every night before going to bed. Again, just help me stay fresh. Really help specifically with like knees and calves, which tend to get the most sore throughout marathon training. And the last piece was doing yoga. So every Sunday, which was my only true recovery day, with no lifts, no runs. We would try to do a follow along yoga routine for like 30-40 minutes just to help with staying flexible, help with preventing injuries. Anyone that runs knows the importance of foam, like daily foam rolling, but then also stretching in yoga is immensely helpful for just keeping the body pliable and preventing injuries. Next up, we talking sups. These 4 right here were the main supplements that were critical throughout the marathon prep. First is Hydrate. This is Transparent Labs electrolyte blend. Obviously, electrolytes and staying hydrated are critical when you're doing that much running. So I would take a scoop of this every morning before my runs, and then sometimes throughout the day, take another scoop just to make sure I'm staying on top of my sodium intake, which is really important with endurance training. This next one is Cyclic Dextrin. It is a carb powder that doesn't cause any stomach issues or disruption. It is something that a lot of endurance athletes take. So I used 1 to 2 scoops of that every morning before my runs just to get a good amount of carbs in and properly fuel each one of my runs. Their protein powder, it is the best tasting protein powder you ever have. Also, if you're somebody that tends to get real bloated from protein powders, you'll be amazed if you try a scoop of their protein powder, you'll never go back. But this is their oatmeal chocolate chip cookie. So good. So good. But I would have a scoop of it every morning after my runs as part of a post-workout shake to get a lot of carbs back into the system. And this last one, this bad boy right here, creatine HMB. This is an amazing supplement. Creatine, everyone knows the benefits of creatine at this point. It specifically for endurance, it's kind of a gray area in the endurance space. Some people are in support of it, some aren't. I took it throughout the marathon prep. I knew that I would be very fatigued, so that's where it helped me. But then also with balancing strength and running, this helped a lot with still being able to push hard in the gym. And then HMB was critical in that it prevented me from losing a lot of muscle with all of my endurance training. That's what HMB does. It supports recovery and then also prevents muscle breakdown. So these were the 4 that I used throughout the prep, and what I'd recommend to anyone that is doing a marathon prep and trying to retain muscle or build muscle throughout that process. And don't forget, code Brad at checkout, save 10%. Nutrition is what we're gonna be talking about next briefly. Don't wanna bore you. Nutrition is so important. And this is something I found out throughout the marathon prep, just how important it was. Nutrition is essential for recovery, being able to perform at your best with all of your training sessions. So important. And for me, it was a massive adjustment because I, throughout the prep, was having to eat way more carbs than I was accustomed to. So throughout it, I adjusted my nutrition intake, everything like that, week to week. But generally speaking, throughout the prep, I was eating around 3,100 calories per day, a lot of carbs, about 225 grams of protein, and a good amount of fats too to support recovery, hormone health, all of those things which are important throughout the process. But these were some of my go-to carb sources. Oatmeal, I had this almost every day. Honey before runs, and just different times throughout the day. Dates, I love dates so much. These are an endurance cheat code. If you've never tried dates before, try them out before a run, thank me later. And then bread, sourdough bread, this is Dave's Killer Bread. One of my favorite combos is honey and Dave's Killer Bread. I do it before lifts now too, but before runs, it's amazing and light on the stomach. But nutrition is really key, so you have to really be dialing that in to make sure, again, that you're not chronically underfueled, because if you are, that leads to injuries, poor sleep, poor recovery. All right, now everyone's favorite part, talking about gear, but not steroids, like training gear. All right, so on that note, where to begin? Let's start with shoes, okay? As you can see, I have a lot of running shoes, but they all serve a very unique purpose. So we're gonna start with the ones that I used throughout this marathon prep, which was pretty much all of them. Nike Vaporfly 3s, I use these for speed workouts, any track workouts I did, tempo runs. These are a carbon plated shoe. They're very fast, so hence why I would use them for speed days. The Nike Zoom Fly 6, I just recently bought these, but I absolutely love these shoes. I actually just bought another pair of them because I like them that much. These are a carbon plated shoe as well. I would alternate between usually these two for speed workouts. Next up, Saucony Endorphin Speed 5s. I absolutely love these shoes. If you know, you know. This is Nick Bear's favorite shoe. So these for me were more so a daily trainer, but I usually just wore them for my long Saturday runs. They are a faster shoe, but not as fast as like a carbon plated shoe. But I absolutely love these. They're super comfortable, very stable, very durable too. Next up, we have the New Balance Rebel V5. These are a faster tempo shoe. I normally wore these for like shorter speed workouts and then just for easy runs as well. Then the last two, Nike Vomero 18s. I love these. These are just an easy run shoe. They're definitely a little heavier, not something you don't want to wear for a speed workout, but very stable, very durable. I put a lot of miles on these boys. As you can see, they're pretty worn out, but love these. And last up, the Mac Daddy, the race day shoe. I wore the Nike Alpha Fly 3s. Yes, very basic, but I love these. These are like, I don't even know what to compare these to. It feels like you're running on a trampoline, honestly. Like, these things are insane. Dang, they got a little chewed up. Kind of pissed, but I love these shoes. Ooh, watch. Everyone wants to know the watch. This is the Garmin Forerunner 970. I had an Apple Watch before this. The reason why I switched mostly was because I wanted a running plan, so I used the Garmin coach plan throughout the marathon prep. I didn't like work with a running coach or anything like that. I just followed this watch, which was a pitfall. I'll explain later, but this watch is great as far as all the data it tracks, HRV, sleep data, all your running data. Obviously, and the battery life on it is like 14 days, has a speaker, has a flashlight if you run early in the mornings, but great watch, would recommend it. Is expensive. If you're looking for a more budget-friendly watch, I would get the 570, which is $200 cheaper, or I would get the Forerunner 265, which is the older model. Those are on sale right now for very cheap, but can't go wrong. Last up, the Cane Train. If you don't know what these are by now, these are cane recovery shoes. These are the best shoes ever. Hence, you can see I have 5 pairs of them. But these are so helpful, especially if you do running. I actually first found out about these about 3 years ago. I was dealing with really bad plantar fasciitis, and I'm not gonna say it was solely because of these, but I started wearing these, and within 2 months, it was gone. So throughout marathon prep, pretty much anytime I didn't have running shoes on my feet, I had a pair of these on. They just help so much with recovery, with your feet especially. That's usually the thing that people get nagging injuries with when it comes to running. Just staying fresh, recovered. So every day you can wake up, do the same thing over and over. But I have a link below to these as well if you want to check them out. But I think everyone should invest in a pair of these, whether you're somebody who's on their feet a lot throughout the day for work, or somebody who does running. These are incredible, and they don't break the bank either. Sometimes you can get them on sale for like $60. The last most underrated thing that helped me throughout this entire prep and was immensely helpful on race day was this right here. You gotta get one of these. But she was so helpful. She packed a bag the day before, had all of my extra stuff, had an extra pair of running shoes in case my shoes blew up. She had a nice, refreshing, full sugar Coca-Cola waiting on me after the race. So make sure that while you're getting ready to do a race, that you treat your significant other with a lot of love and respect, because you're gonna rely on them heavily come race day. Last up, all of the mistakes that I made, all the do's and don'ts of marathon prep and then race day as well that you can avoid so that you have a better race day than I did, because it did not go as planned. Starting with my training. So I mentioned it earlier, throughout the entire prep, I just utilized the Garmin Coach on my watch instead of utilizing ChatGPT or anything like that. Why? Because I knew the coach based your training off of your recovery, your performance, and all those things, which I really liked. But I also wanted to see too how close it would get me to my goal time of trying to go sub 3 hours. Issue with it, looking back on it, did not give me near enough speed workouts to get comfortable in being able to sustain the pace that I needed to throughout the race. So very early on, like 4 or 5 miles into the race, holding race pace, I quickly learned, I was like, yeah, this isn't gonna happen today. There's no way I'm going to go sub 3. So I ended up just scaling back and sticking at a pace that I could comfortably stay at for the rest of the race. But coming out that hot, I really burned myself up to where once I hit around mile 15, it was bad. Like wheels were starting to fall off. it was not good. I was getting like full abdominal cramps to the point where I had to walk because I couldn't even breathe. It was that bad. Yeah, outside of that, the other mistake was, so my prediction time on my watch leading up to the race was, it said that I could realistically complete the marathon at like a 3:15 pace. So me being me, I was like, oh, you know, screw the watch. I'll be able to, you know, I've been training for this. I'll be able to make it happen. So I paced my race based off of going 2:58. And like I had talked about, that didn't go according to plan. So looking back on it, what I would do next time is I'm going to create my pace for the race around whatever my prediction time is, because I know that's pretty accurate. Now, I think if I had paced 3:15, I absolutely would have been able to do it. But because I came out the gates too hot and I was trying to run a sub 3-hour marathon, that caused me to blow up to where I couldn't even hold the pace that I needed to do a 3:15. All in all, that first marathon was definitely a massive learning experience, but I now have all the scars from that race to take into my next one and know exactly what to do. So that is the marathon recap. Like I said, I hope this helps anyone who is thinking about doing or signing up for their first race, especially anyone that might be concerned with losing muscle and how to preserve as much muscle or even get stronger throughout marathon prep. If you have any questions on this, let me know. I'm happy to help out and be a resource for anyone. But yeah, that's it. This is my first YouTube video. Signing off.